we have another heartbreaking story to bring you. At White Eyes Media, we uncover real stories hidden in silence, stories often ignored by mainstream headlines, especially when they involve Black and brown communities. Today, we bring you the story of a young woman who joined the U.S. Navy with pride, who wore her uniform with purpose, and who was found dead far from home under deeply suspicious circumstances. Angelina, Angie. Petra Resendiz was just 21 years old, a young woman standing at the edge of her adult life, filled with ambition, pride, and purpose. She had recently become a culinary specialist in the U.S. Navy, stationed aboard the USS James E. Williams, a guided missile destroyer docked at Naval Station Norfolk in Virginia. It's the largest naval base in the world, but to Angie, it was more than steel ships and barracks. It was a chance to carve out a future, to serve her country, and to make her family proud. She was born and raised in Brownsville, Texas, the youngest of a tight-knit family rooted in love and faith. Those who knew her say she was radiant, funny, kind-hearted, the kind of person who checked on her friends just to hear them laugh. She had this deep, intuitive warmth that made others feel safe around her. Her mother would later say that Angie hated darkness, not just in rooms but in life. She was the kind of person who turned on every light in the house, the kind who lit candles when it wasn't necessary, who found comfort in brightness. She didn't just bring light into spaces, she was the light. In early 2025, Angie graduated from naval training, a milestone that marked the beginning of a dream she had worked so hard to reach. Photos show her in uniform, standing tall and proud, wearing her sailor's cap with a shy but confident smile. For her, the Navy was more than a job. It was stability. It was structure. It was a future she believed in. She wanted to travel. She wanted to cook for her fellow service members. She had plans, real ones. Angie believed in the institution she had joined. She believed that the military would protect her, respect her, and help her grow. She believed that wearing the uniform came with honor and with safety. But in late May of 2025, just months after her assignment began, that belief was shattered, and the future she was building vanished with her. On the morning of May 29th, 2025, everything changed. Angelina was last seen inside the barracks of a fellow sailor, reportedly during a routine wellness check. It was around 10 a.m. She was off duty, on authorized liberty. There were no signs of distress reported, no official concern raised at the time, and yet shortly after that moment she disappeared. Hours passed, then days. Angelina failed to return to duty on time. She missed muster. She didn't check in. She didn't answer calls. And still, no one raised the alarm. Instead of filing a missing person report, the Navy labeled her AWOL, absent without leave. In military terms, it meant she'd left voluntarily, that she had gone off the grid on her own, that there was no need to panic. But her family was panicking. Her mother made phone calls desperate for updates. She asked if her daughter was safe. She was told everything was fine, but it wasn't. Something wasn't right. Angie never responded to her texts. She never called back. And the silence, the kind of silence Angie never embraced, was deafening. 5 full days after she was last seen, that Virginia State Police issued a critically missing adult alert. It wasn't the Navy who issued it. It wasn't part of an organized search. It came because her family wouldn't stop pushing. And by then, precious time had already slipped away. On June 9th, 11 days after Angie was last seen, her body was discovered in a wooded area, about 10 miles from her base. She wasn't found by search dogs or military personnel. She wasn't located through coordinated effort or emergency response. She was found by children. Children playing in the woods stumbled upon her remains in an area called Paradise Creek Nature Park in Portsmouth. It was the kind of cruel irony you can't make sense of. A daughter who joined the world's most powerful military, discarded in the woods and found by strangers. When authorities confirmed the remains belonged to Angelina Resendiz, there were still no answers, no official cause of death, no time of death publicly released, just silence. And then, one name, Jermiah Copeland, a 23-year-old sailor who had reportedly been one of the last people to see her alive. He was placed into pretrial confinement at a Navy facility. No charges were filed, no timeline was given, and no press conference followed. The Navy made sure to state that Copeland was being detained, but not accused, yet. And so the story lingered in limbo. A young woman was dead, a sailor was in custody, the family was in mourning, but no one, not the public, not the media, not even lawmakers, was getting answers. It felt like something was being kept quiet. Her family, already shattered by grief, was met with delays, vague statements, and a bureaucratic wall that seemed engineered to keep them in the dark. No one would tell them how she died. No one could, or would, explain how the daughter had been labeled AWOL when she had never gone off base, never given any indication she was leaving. Every question her mother asked was met with a pause, a redirection, a denial of information. The very system she trusted with her daughter's life was now refusing to even acknowledge how it ended. And when Angelina's body was returned to her family in Brownsville, Texas, it arrived in a horrifying condition, covered in dirt, signs of decomposition. Her mother said the casket smelled. There were maggots in the body bag. She couldn't believe the military would allow her daughter to be treated this way, not in life, and certainly not in death. The emotional damage was deep, but the disrespect added a new layer of trauma that words could barely contain. Outraged, the family retained legal representation. Former Navy JAG officer Marshall Griffin became their voice, and he didn't hold back. In interviews and statements, he made it clear this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't a paperwork error or a training lapse. This was a deliberate failure. And more than that, Griffin pointed to Jermiah Copeland as the suspected perpetrator. He stated that Copeland had every opportunity to speak up, to cooperate, to do the right thing, and he didn't. But still, no charges were filed. Copeland remained in custody, quiet, untouched, and the Navy wouldn't speak publicly about what evidence they had or what timeline they were working from. The silence from command was met with noise from the people. Activists, veterans, and lawmakers, especially in Texas, started demanding answers. Congressman Henry Cuellar sent a formal letter to the Secretary of the Navy, co-signed by 18 members of Congress, calling out the mishandling of the case and demanding transparency. They questioned the use of AWOL rather than whereabouts unknown, a term that would have launched a full-scale search. They highlighted the failure to notify family members in a timely manner, and they gave a deadline, August 1st, demanding answers the family still hadn't received. Groups like LULAC and local veteran coalitions began to organize public statements, petition for independent oversight, and amplify the story, because what happened to Angelina wasn't just about one sailor. It was about a system that too often fails women, especially women of color, especially in uniform. Angelina's story doesn't exist in a vacuum. Her death isn't just a tragedy, it's a pattern. One we've seen before, one we've been told to stop talking about, one that keeps repeating itself in military institutions across this country. From Vanessa Guillén, murdered in an armory and hidden in concrete, to Asia Graham, who was sexually assaulted and later found dead in her barracks, to Denisha Montgomery, whose mysterious death was brushed aside overseas. Black and brown women in uniform continue to vanish, to suffer, and to die under unexplained, suspicious, or violent circumstances. And in case after case, the response is the same: delay, deflect, deny. At White Eyes Media, we believe stories like this must be told, not once, not briefly, but fully. Because silence is not respect. Truth is. Thank you for watching.